at the high school level, we're about to have a criminal justice track in our VOC program, and I hope to be a great resource for that. I'm meeting with the instructor that they hired the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. And the first couple of years of that is going to be around citizenship, so I'm hopeful that maybe these PSAs might be created during that class time, because I'll have a captive audience, you know, for 40 minutes every day. So those are just some of the things that like are sort of in the works now, but you know, nothing great quality because of the conditions that we're living in. I'm limited technology-wise. I'm limited now funding-wise. I'm not clear on what we can spend on programming now that we've lost. We didn't lose our federal grant. We matured out of our federal grant. And we're reapplying for a regional state grant that is, you know, still focused around underage drinking. So we'll see what happens there. But I don't know. I guess I feel like there's always going to be a COVID. There's always going to be a vaping epidemic. There's always going to be. So if we just stay the course at trying to support the kids with the experiences, the opportunities, and the, you know, morals that they need to, you know, move forward in the right direction, then we're gonna tackle a lot of problems: anxiety, depression, bullying, homelessness, you know, substance use and abuse. So I'm very clear at, you know, what we need to do, how we need to do it, and I'm pretty flexible. I really am struggling with COVID, but I'm still maintaining the connection with the kids, the schools, and doing the best I can there. So I did write some things down to stay on topic. I don't know, you know, I don't know if I could talk about prior things that we've done. I mean, I guess I could touch on the elementary school level. I have talked to 3 of the 8 principals. They're on board with moving forward with some of the things that we've been able to do for the last maybe 8 or 9 years. One is a 4th grade essay contest, and then one is a 3rd grade poster contest. And I brought the posters from last year. I actually don't know which school this is that I have on the top, but these were supposed to go in the schools this year, but I don't know, we didn't get that far. And so I think I am going to try to, you know, still do the 4th grade essay contest. That's around positive and healthy living. It has 8 writing prompts on it that are all based on the asset model, you know, what I want to be when I grow up and why, you know, give the kids some goals to set and ways that they can achieve those. And I don't know, I guess that's it that's going on right now. I'm happy to talk about any past product. In these 12 years, the amount of amazing, creative, complicated things that we've been able to achieve, it's mind-blowing, the things that we've been able to do in the city. But there's new kids coming up every day, you know, we gotta keep at it. So I don't know.
Yeah, so maybe we can hit a few highlights.
Sure.
Because you and the collaborative have been involved in a tremendous amount of programming like you're describing, and just to give some, you know, folks out there might be 3 or 4 watching right now.
Yeah.
You know, just maybe a more concrete understanding of what you do. Like, I mean, you did Above the Influence,
right,
which was a big program a few years ago, and I believe that, you know, the 4th grade essay contest is in conjunction with the Rotary Club, so there's community partnerships that are going on. And
I do pride myself in engaging as many sectors of the community in the work as I can, because I have my own personal philosophy, but it's my professional philosophy as well, as all kids are our kids, you know. So I don't know, I'm looking at one of my campaigns. I don't know if the camera can see it. It's over there, which was a pretty awesome one. That just happened 2 years ago. Can you see it? It's right there. See
the kids the pictures of the kids all in the plant. I was going to mention that one to you too.
Yeah, so that was what they called the I Am campaign.
Oh yeah, right.
And so I guess I'll just tell you a little bit about that one. This is a little worn, but
this reminds me of Brandy Carpenter's first school committee meeting when she had a bouquet of flowers.
When I got a bouquet of flowers,
yes.
the first one. Yep.
I would say the kids in this campaign are all in grade 9 now. Maybe there's a couple of grade 8. Oh, grade 10. I know, you can't really. This is just a little.
Oh, that's better. That's better.
Okay. So, all right, I'll just grab one of the cards. I had the kids take a look at the 40 developmental assets, the science part of this. I had them look at the list of the things that I'm telling them they need to be the best that they can be. I asked these kids who were in grade 7 at the time, I think they're all in grade 9 now. I asked them, look at this list and you tell me on this list what's the most important thing that you need as a Higgins Middle School 7th grade student to be the best citizen, the best kid, the best person you could be. They picked 2 things off the list, and one was to surround themselves with the right people, right? Have good friends. And the other, and the more important one they told me, was to feel good about themselves. So that's what spawned this whole campaign, is their answers to my questions. And it's funny that I picked this one that says, I am kind, because I had to do a lot of work. It was a great deliverable, but the process was unbelievable. I had to do a lot of work at getting the kids to talk positively about themselves, which, I mean, you're a middle school teacher, you know, even just having a boy and a girl in the same room, working at the same table together can be difficult. And it's even hard for adults to say. I had the kids tell me 3 positive things about themselves. Every single kid told me they were kind. So, and every single kid, you know, in that group really was kind. But not everybody could be kind for the campaign, so we had to dig a little bit deeper. And I don't know, I have my buddy here, Joe. So Joe wanted to be kind. Everybody wanted to be kind, and they wanted to be athletic. They were all athletic too. So, you know, Joe, when I would come to a meeting, I might be carrying all the snacks, and I would have papers falling out of my, you know, binder, and I would say, oh, I didn't bring a sign-in sheet. Joe would pop on the laptop, and he would, all of a sudden, he would print out a sign-in sheet for me. He told me, Sandy, you really need to carry around some plain paper in your binder so that you don't take notes all over the sides of everything. Next week, he comes to me with lined paper. So we talked about Joe's strengths, and Joe was very helpful to me. And that's how he you know, picked his word, helpful. So we sort of had a massage out of the kids, like where their strengths are. And the work that I do, we look at the kids through a strength-based lens. Where do you shine already? We're gonna build on that. And then maybe we could work on some other things that Joe, you know, there was, you know, maybe some not sitting still and following the rules kind of thing, you know, we'll work on that afterwards. So we came up, there was, I think, 26 kids in the campaign, and then, so now they have their words, and then what do we want to do with it? So these brave children decided they wanted their face on a poster in their school. I'm not sure I could have done that in grade 7. So these got turned into posters, and they went all over the Higgins school. And then we got them up on the billboards in Peabody, because you can use the billboards for some community space. So their face was up there. This actually was for the Rotary. So they asked us to make a centerpiece. And they asked the Healthy Peabody Collaborative to do a centerpiece. And this is what campaign we were working on at the time. So they came up with the idea of the baseball card size, and this was accompanied by, it's over there, but it was accompanied by a frame that sort of told what the campaign was all about. They also did PSAs for this. You could look them up. They play sometimes on the big screens at the Higgins, and I think on the websites too. I'm trying to think, it had a lot of legs. This was a lot of leverage. So the idea was, other kids could see themselves in these characteristics, and you know, maybe if they didn't, they could emulate, oh, I want to be kind like her, or helpful like Joe, or compassionate, or you know, whatever. So this is an idea. The kids told me they need to feel good about themselves, and this was a positive self-talk campaign that had many layers, and you know, this is a perfect example of the kind of things that we do. The 3rd grade bookmark contents, I guess just because I have them with me, this was like in grade 3, and this contest was developed by a high school student. And I guess we had the grade 4 contest going strong. And then we're working with the leadership group at the high school, and what could we do with grade 3? And then, I remember when I was 8, I really loved to draw, and whatever, and they came up with the idea of, it was a bookmark contest originally, and it morphed into a poster contest really because of funding. But it was pretty cool, and the idea was these were all 8 of or 9 actually, because St. John's Elementary is in here as well, we're gonna be hung in the schools. So the prompt was, what can you do to be a good friend? Because those are skills that a kid needs. You can find them in the 40 developmental assets to become the best version of themselves. And then we get all these great, and these were judged by the 7th and 8th grade kids that I work with. So it came full circle, It was kind of cool too, because some of these kids they won the grade 3 or 4 contest, and then they were judging the grade 3 contest, so that was a pretty cool. And I was able to come up with some of the entries and embarrass them, and, not really, but just show them how their growth over the years. So I guess that's some concrete examples of the kind of things that I do. But.
Yeah, and another partnership that you or the collaborative developed with regard to the bookmarks is they were handed out at the library. They were handed out at each of the elementary schools.
Right.
So that their peers would get.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool thing. We were able to order bookmarks for every kid in the school. So, I mean, that 3rd grade kid was feeling pretty good about themselves, that their artwork was, in the hands of and also too, it wasn't just funding that it morphed into a poster contest. I'm not entirely sure that bookmarks are a thing as much as they used to be. So the poster
Are you calling us old, Sandy?
Yeah. I don't know, a physical book, I mean, they're not all reading them, and are they bending the pages, or, yeah, and I mean, there is community partnerships all over the place with all of this. This was, we hired Greylock, which is a local company, to, create the campaign. They were a pleasure to work with. We've used them many times, but the essays are read by the Rotary, so that's pretty cool. They read them, judge them, which is nice, because the very first year that we did it, I tried to read them. Everybody's getting a prize when I read them. So I was really, really happy to hand that off, and we got 100% participation from every single grade 4 classroom in all 8 elementary schools, and for the last 2 years, St. John's Elementary. So it's a little sad to me it's not happening, but I'm going to try to do it on some level with the schools that I can work with.
Yeah, so those essays that are read by the winners from the 4th grade of each elementary school are read to the entire school in an assembly that takes place, and it is really exciting to see not only the winners and who don't know that they're winners before.
Right, some do, some don't. Different schools do it different ways.
But it's nice to see.
Yeah, on the 40 developmental assets, one of the things that you need to do is to applaud your peers when they have successes. And that's a really good lesson. And it just comes so naturally, to watch them high-five each other when they go up, or the universal gasp, oh, it was really Sarah, from my class that won that, as happy as they could be for their own self. Yeah, we have an elementary school tour, and we go into all the elementary schools and we celebrate those kids in whatever way the school wants us to. It varies from a classroom, presentation to a whole school assembly with flowers and, bells and whistles, however the school wants us. So yeah, it's endless. There's also the Champion for Youth program, where through different activities throughout the whole year, and again, that stuff hasn't happened this year, but we have the kids identify people that are positive influences in their lives, and then if they shout out somebody that it's Jared Hockman, we know who you are, then you get a little certificate signed by the mayor and a presentation. So that's pretty cool too. That's comes a lot of times. It's school teachers who are shouted out, or school faculty, people that work in the school. Sometimes it's dance teachers or coaches. A lot of times it's coaches. But I think it's very timely, because that happens in the spring when, teachers are getting a little tired, and really this piece of paper that's printed off my printer, that's all it is, just tells a teacher, hey, you know what? Somebody in Peabody, some kids connected with you that when I asked them, who's an important person in your life that, you know, holds you accountable, that's a positive role model to you, they said Fernando Braz, you know, they picked you. So I think that's really important work too, you know. Those come from Career Day, and we have had the captains of the sports teams at Peabody High with my own leaders from the Health Advisory Council come out and visit all the grade 5 students and, you know, talk to them about, they do a little activity that we train them in. And we get names from there, we get names from Career Day, we get names just all along the whole school year. Even if a kid's just talking to me saying, you know, telling me about their math teacher who really went the extra, you know, they had a mental breakdown in math and they you know, had them out in the hallway and talked out whatever the problem was. And, you know, I'll sometimes put the person's name down because they're telling me this story, you know. So that's been a pretty great program thing that's happened. I don't know, I could go on.
No, I know, this is just
Yeah.
a small window of all
Yeah.
the great work you do, but I want to give Mr. Miko and Ms. Carpenter an opportunity. I'm sure they will have some questions for you and some things to say to you. Ms. Carpenter?
Thank you. Sandy, thank you for coming. I've known you for many years. I do remember when Healthy Peabody Collaborative began and all of the wonderful work that you've done. Can you just, I have a couple of things I want to talk about, but one thing I want to touch on is, I do remember you had a fabulous partner with you. Who else works with you?
Well, we have 2 full-time employees, and it's me and Sarah Grinnell.
Sarah Grinnell,
Yeah, and our jobs are very different. I'm the outreach coordinator. She's the grants manager, director of Healthy Peabody Collaborative. So she doesn't get to have the fun times that I do. With, she does more of like the grant writing, grant managing, reporting, like that kind of stuff. We do have a team approach about, you know, a lot of things. But I would say who the Healthy Peabody Collaborative is, you know, the 52,000 people that live here. I really, I guess I haven't engaged all 52,000 yet, but the Healthy Peabody Collaborative is the community of Peabody, you know, the people that get together, that care about the kids. And I am just, I'm in a room full of people, and, you know, maybe the 2 or 3 people that are watching, that there's so, from the top down, you know this, the adults in Peabody really do care, you know? And I'm just there. A lot of times, and I tell the kids this, I'm your voice at the meeting when you can't be there or you're not invited to the meeting. I always have their best interests at mind, and also their words, you know. And I'm the one that says, you know, maybe we should have a kid on this advocacy board because not for you, without you, you know. So I would say that Healthy Peabody Collaborative, yes, we do have 2 paid full-time employees, but
Yeah.
it's a lot bigger.
No, I mean, it's fabulous, and I do remember Sarah, you know, some of the campaigns you talked about, these were really big campaigns. I mean, I saw them everywhere,
Right.
in the halls, you know, on the streets, just everywhere. The Above the Influence, I'll tell you, that kind of generated a little bit of a cult, you know, collecting those pens.
I know.
You know
I
that
know,
was a big
collect them
thing,
all.
right?
I know, and now we have Be Kind pins, and they're all in different colors, and I was kind of hoping it would take on the same light.
You gave me an Above the Influence pen, and when I went home, I have 3 kids. Do you
Yeah.
know what they're like? How did you get that? Do you know how hard it is to get that? Can I have that?
I have to tell you, one of the greatest stories to come out of that campaign, I was doing a all-school event with the kids in the cafeteria. Someone came with a purple pin. We did not create purple pins. I just couldn't believe it. I said, where did you get that? And the kid's dad found a way to get them created because they wanted the purple version of the pin. And at first I was a little taken aback, but then I said, this is just the highest form of praise. This is how relatable this is. And about the Above the Influence campaign, that philosophy has not gone away. That philosophy dovetails perfectly with the asset model. It's just giving the kids a platform for speaking out about the influences in their life, whether negative or positive. And we still do. I still visit the summer programming with the Peabody Rec Department, and we still do some programming around the Above the Influence. That was, at the time, the national anti-drug campaign. That went away, but, you know, it could possibly, you know, come back. There was no more funding for it on the national level, but that was a pretty.
It was a big one, yeah.
Pretty relatable
It was.
campaign the philosophy is not dead, we still employ that.
Yeah, no. You know, I just kind of think about some of the things that you get the kids involved with, and then as time goes on and you lose touch with them, they get older. This is something that kids kind of think about when it comes to that crossroad. You know, when they come up to that question, that peer pressure, that time when it could be a good decision or a bad decision. And then they may think back to some of the programs that they were in with you,
Yeah.
and it triggers something in their brain
Yeah.
that they need to live up to what they did.
Yeah.
And things that they did with your program. So I want you to know that it's recognized, and I've heard a lot of kids talk about it. I'm really interested in the program that you were discussing right before it got stalled by COVID, the empathy, the kind program. Given this current climate that we're in,
Yeah.
I think that program is going to be something that's so important,
Yeah.
being empathetic and kind to others. The other thing you touched upon was meaningful relationships with adults. You're housed in the Peabody Police Station. I know they buddy all the time. So these things all tie into what I think is going to be so important. And one other thing I want to touch on is, you said you were having a little bit of trouble with the audio, the visual, the filming.
Yeah.
There's some kids coming home on college break. I think we can talk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to help you out.
No, I agree, and I have thought about that, if we could put, yeah, I have a
Yeah.
girl, I have a girl in mind, I know that's her major, and she's a senior, and, yeah, you're right,
Yeah.
I agree. I think, I have been spoiled with being able to pay a contractor to do, you know, a professional to do the work, but I mean, I'm coming up all the time with ways that we can work around that kind of thing.
Yeah, please call me.
So-
We'll have coffee later, and
Yeah.
I know some kids that are coming home
Yeah,
that are in that major.
yep, no, that's a really great,
Thank you, Sandy.
I can only take technology so far.
I know, I know.
I really do hand it right over to the professionals that are, you know, that 12 and 13.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I shouldn't even say the college kids coming home.
It's
We have
true,
some
it's so
13-year-olds who are
true,
gonna be on
so
Christmas break. Thank you, Sandy.
Yeah, we'll get it off the ground. I mean, I just have endless ideas, and I don't know, I listen to the kids, try to listen to the kids without the naysay that adults do. We see all of the roadblocks, all of the boundaries, and kids, you know, they don't have their frontal lobe's not fully developed. They don't like when adults tell them that because they think there's something wrong with them, but it's absolutely beautiful because they don't see the same kind of restrictions we do. And the ideas, if you just listen to them, the ideas that they have, they can blow you away. And I do, of course, my adult brain's going, oh, superintendent's never gonna allow that. So I'm sure you would, but I haven't met him yet. You know, or whatever, but they don't see any of that. And it's really, truly wonderful, you know. I know, you know, people look at all of us who work with middle and high school students, and some people think we're crazy, but it's the best. It's really, truly the best job. And also, that is my reason for being here, is to talk about the work that I do at the Peabody Public Schools. But the grant is a lot more than that. You know, there's a lot of things out there, like the prescription take-back program, you know, to get the drugs off the street, out of the, you know, cabinets of the grandparents, you know, so that it doesn't get into the hands of the youth. There's other things going on. Law enforcement partnerships with troubled kids, you know, it's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, no, great
All
questions.
right, thank you.
Thank you for the answers. I was wondering if Harvey was here. I think we're all old enough to remember the Jimmy
What?
Stewart.
Oh,
The Jimmy Stewart movie,
oh,
Harvey.
yeah,
Yeah, I thought you were seeing a white puka when you
Oh.
turned into,
I don't know where the camera is, I'm looking up there again.
oh, you're doing great.
They're robotic, they're great.
Yeah. Mr. Amico?
Sure, thank you.
Sure.
Through the chair to Ms. Grover, excuse me. Sandy, thank you so much for being here. I've seen and I've heard a lot about what you do, and as a educator and a parent myself, one thing that you mentioned earlier about, you know, if a kid could have one person, one adult in their life, that could be the difference between them being successful and maybe making the wrong choices. And I think that's so important because I see it as a teacher. I've been teaching for 20 years, and whenever a student needs an adult and an adult is there for them, students want to do well. No student wants to fail. No kid wants to fail. Kids don't want to make mistakes. they don't wanna make big mistakes. And if they make the little ones, they wanna be corrected. They want that guidance,
Yeah.
and your group is providing that guidance. So I just wanna thank you very much. The other thing is, you mentioned grants and funding, and if there's ever an opportunity that the city can give back, and I know a lot of people do, but we have some great companies and great organizations in the city. The school committee here is always willing to help out in any way. So please make sure you reach out to us,
Yeah.
because the one thing that we all have in common is I think Peabody's a large city, but it's still a small town feel, because when somebody needs something, everyone comes running, everyone helps out.
I see it all the time. Just one comment about a kid making a mistake, again, that frontal lobe not being fully developed. I would say that's just a perfect thing to end on, is the whole basis of my work is to build the foundation around that kid when they inevitably make a misstep, and they will, and they should.
Yeah.
It's how they learn, is that they don't fall off.
Mhm.
Because they have the 40 developmental assets, the community around them, the experiences, the opportunities, the sports, the after-school clubs, all of that. They have all of that to fall back on so that they don't fall off of the foundation. We just build it out as far as we can to support the kids. So I appreciate those comments. And I would say asking for, help is probably a weakness of mine, so that I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate Jared reaching out to me originally. Even just to feel supported is pretty awesome, and I will definitely keep all of that in mind.
Yeah, and it's about the kids. We have that motto in our schools. I've always had that as a teacher, but I truly feel that that's Peabody's model. The best investment we can make is in our kids. Whether it's monetary or time.
Yeah.
We waste money, we waste time on everything. Let's put it to good use, and let's put it, let's invest in our kids, and I think we can all do better. So thank you so much for doing what you do.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, Sandy, thank you for being here tonight. I mean, I know
Thanks for
you're
having
busy,
me.
you have a lot going on, a robust life, and some things going on very recently in your personal life. But, we used to, at the school committee, you and Sarah used to give us an annual update, and we haven't had that in some time, and I'm not sure why, we haven't, but it's good that you're here tonight to give,
Yeah.
not just us, because we know what you do,
Right.
but you're one of those people, and there are several Sandy Drovers around the city that makes Peabody as phenomenal as it is, that makes us the caring community that we are.
Yeah.
It's people like you that teach our young kids how to make good choices, how to feel good about themselves. We talked about this last week when we had a cup of coffee. One of the most significant things you do is you take 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds who are struggling with so many things, with their own bodies and changes that are going on and relationships that they're having. And the first thing you do is this campaign. You make them feel good about themselves. And it's so important throughout life, at every stage of life, but
Right.
particularly at these formative years. And you matter. I mean, you are that one adult for a lot of these kids.
Yeah.
Whether you believe it or not, whether you want to accept it or not, you really are. So I commend you for all of the phenomenal work that you do. I can't imagine the city without you.
Aw,
So
you.
keep doing what you do. As Ms. Carpenter and Mr. Miko said, we are here. We do want to provide you with resources to the best that we can to allow you to continue, because there's a whole lot of programs that take place that allow kids to learn that most people don't think about. And if we don't have students making good decisions and good choices, and they're not here physically, they can't learn. And you're working on giving them skills and building the trust with them that allows them to make those good choices.
Right.
And like you said, it's not 100%. Part of your programming is they're going to fail,
Right.
but be there to support them so that they don't fall off the cliff. So
Right.
I think the world of you. I think the world of what you do. And again,
Thank
appreciate
you.
you taking the
I know,
time.
I really feel very blessed that this doesn't happen in every city. It just doesn't. And when I attend regional meetings at the state level, and I've even trained a couple times nationally, I can hold Peabody and Peabody kids up as a standard that all communities can, you know, admire. And, you know, there's so many byproducts of the work that we do, because these kids are learning valuable skills like public speaking, advocacy work. Like, they're exposed to lines of work that they never even knew existed. I think when I was a kid, I was a female, so I could be a secretary, a nurse, or a teacher. Those were the paths I can take. And I don't know, Liz, we have a kid here in this group that went to see the editing process of how they did the work down at Greylock. We had a field trip down at Greylock, and the girl that I was working with is a drone operator. She works, you know, the FAA or whatever, and she took her drone out, and I haven't been in touch with him. I think he's a sophomore. I don't know. He's like, I'm gonna be a drone pilot. Who knows, you know? So I agree with you that the work is important, and I accept that I am that adult for a lot of kids in Peabody, but I have a lot of good company in that. Let me just say, I work with a lot of amazing adults in the city that really care. So I feel pretty proud of the work I do and the people that I get to, you know, interact with and work with. So thank you.
All right.
Great.
Well, with that, I think we've covered the agenda. So I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks, Sandy.
Okay.